In this lesson, I'd like to explain minor jazz harmony. Now, you can basically look at minor jazz harmony in one of two ways. The easy way is just to basically look at the major 2-5-1, say in the key of A major, and just be aware that you've got to change the extensions. From a minor 7th chord, you're going to put a minor 7 flat 5 on, and on a dominant 7th chord, you're going to basically put some kind of alteration to the 9th or the 5th, and then you're going to resolve to minor as opposed to major 7. Okay, that's the easy way. Now, if you want to know where those extensions come from, this is basically where they come from. It's not absolutely essential information, but a lot of people ask me, and I do think that knowledge is power. So here we go with minor jazz harmony. Minor jazz harmony basically draws upon two minor scales. The natural minor scale, which if we play that in the starting on an A note, we get A natural minor. Root, second, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you can play the root again if you like. A natural minor scale. It's the same thing as basically playing a C major scale or a C pitch collection, and then starting the scale on the A, and the same pitch collection would then produce an A natural minor scale. If anybody wants to impress anyone with a mode name, then that's also an Aeolian scale as well. I think that's a bit overkill, but just in case you hear that term, that's the same thing. A major scale starting on the 6 is an Aeolian mode or a natural minor scale. Okay, the other scale that you're going to need to know to basically also understand minor jazz harmony is the harmonic minor scale. So starting on the tonic, root starts exactly the same way. Root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, but then instead of this note, the G, we have a G sharp, which then produces a leading tone, and it's also a raised 7, which creates that kind of sound against the root. Harmonic minor, natural minor. I'll play natural minor, then harmonic minor. Okay, so as we know, we've got to harmonise chords in thirds to basically create harmony. So if we're looking at a 2-5-1 in the key of A minor, then we need some kind of a B stacked in thirds, some kind of a E, which is the 5 chord, stacked in thirds, and then a 1 chord stacked in thirds too. So let's go with a B. Okay, stacked in thirds. A third above B is D. A third above D is F. That's our diminished triad right there. And now if we need the full picture, we add a third above F and we get the note A, and that is a B minor 7 flat 5 chord stacked in thirds. You can see that if you add the second end of either of those scales, that chord is right within the scale. It's like a D minor triad with a B in the bass, if you want to think of it like that. The common grip that people play there is this one or that chord right there. And this one, you can see that that comes from the scale too. So that's a B minor 7 flat 5 chord. Now, the 5 chord is where things get interesting. If we stack a voicing using notes from the natural minor scale, we start on E, we've got G, then we've got B, and then we've got D. So we've got this chord right here. Okay, this would be our 5 chord. Now the problem with that is when it resolves to a 1 chord, there's no crunch there. If you hear a 5 minor 7 chord go into a 1 minor 7 chord, it's not a bad sound for maybe funk or something like that. But what you hear in jazz is something more like that, or some kind of an altered 5 chord usually. It's definitely some kind of a dominant 5 chord. 5 chord go into 1. you never hear a minor 7 chord go into a 1 chord. It's just not the right sound. This is where harmonic minor comes in, because if we look at that same chord here, the E minor 7th voicing, and we get the third, the note G, and we make it to a G sharp, that basically gives us an E7 chord. Okay, and that is from the harmonic minor scale, because we can see the note G sharp is right there, and that's found within an E7 chord. If you harmonise the 5 chord based off natural minor, you get an E minor 7 chord. If you harmonise the 5 chord based off the harmonic minor scale, that's where you get the dominant chord. Okay, so 2 minor 7 can be, you can think of that as coming from either. The 5 chord in jazz is non-negotiably the harmonic minor, and then the 1 chord could be either as well. There's various things that jazz musicians play for a 1 chord in a minor 2-5-1. It's a good idea to think of the minor 7 first, but there's 6 chords. You could even just have an A minor triad as well, even if that's a spread triad. So 2, 5 altered, and then some kind of 1 chord triad, 6, or maybe even a 7th, or maybe even a 9th. It doesn't really matter, but just to get going, you could start by using grips like that. Now, where the harmonic minor isn't so great is if you basically harmonise the 1 chord using a 4-note voicing, using an extended minor 7th chord, what you then get is a minor major 7, this kind of sound. And if you put some of the harmonic minor extensions in, you start getting chords like that, which are very pretty kind of ending chords and things like that, but they're not really ideal. They're a bit too jarring to use in regular substitution for like a more stable minor 7th chord, really. So that's where natural minor, if you're going to think of that 1 chord is coming from natural minor and just build a minor 7th, that's cool. The 1 chord could also, you know, come from Dorian, natural minor scale, or it could be a triad. Either of those are a little bit more useful than that chord. To me, that's just a little bit less usable, which is why for the 1 chord we don't really use the harmonic minor scale. So that basically explains what they are. This is all in the PDF really, and just to get going with this sound, use kind of the basic voicings. You know, you can see if you play that for the 5 chord, there's a G natural and then G sharp when it comes from harmonic minor. That's the important thing. Now, the beautiful thing about harmonic minor, I think, are the possible extensions that could come from that scale. So if we start the A harmonic minor scale on the 5th degree of the scale, the E note, so we play E, F, G sharp, this produces a beautiful scale, an E7 flat 9 flat 13 scale, which, you know, I know that sounds a little bit intimidating if you're a beginner. Don't worry too much about the name, but just get used to the sound that that scale produces. The reason why I'm telling you all this is because if you take a 3-note E7 chord voicing like this, then all the extensions from this scale are basically usable on the E7 chord. And I've written out a few on the PDF, right? So if we take this E7 shell, on that PDF I've written a flat 9 chord. The flat 9 of E is the note F, which comes from, I mean, I guess you could say that's from the natural minor as well, right? But because we've got that G sharp, to me that chord sounds a little bit more like it's coming from that E7 scale, the A harmonic minor, rather than natural minor. Another one that I've written out here is a sharp 9. Now this is where jazz harmony gets really interesting and a little bit more ambiguous, and sometimes why just assigning one scale to a sound can actually be used against you. This chord, this very chord, the Hendrix chord, the sharp 9. Why is that? Well, we've got a G sharp and a G. We've got two different intervals there, which is why this is why I prefer the term pitch collections, because minor pitch collections to me makes more sense than just kind of, you know, using a direct term like harmonic minor or natural minor. It's realistically a combination of both. So the Hendrix chord has two notes. The E7 sharp 9 has a G sharp and a G, and these are all great extensions from 2 minor 7 flat 5. You can use either a flat 9 or you can use a sharp 9, and then you can resolve to some kind of minor chord. You could even use both like so. And on this PDF I've basically written the same inversions further up. This is an E7 with a flat 13 that could resolve to a minor 7th chord, and I've also written an E7 with a flat 9 which could resolve to a minor 7th chord as well. So those are all basically extensions which come from minor 2/5 harmony. So in terms of lesson assignments, what you need to do here is basically practice adding these alterations to your 5 chord. You can do any E7 chord even if you're basically playing an E triad, and then if you move the root up by a semitone, it gives you a similar sound before resolving to the minor chord, right? Now, another thing that you could do as an assignment would be to try and use maybe 2 extensions when comping. So if you were playing B minor 7 flat 5, and then you could have maybe a sharp 9, flat 9, and then minor 7. So that's more of a luscious kind of fuller sound really, but as I said, all this stuff is a little bit more advanced than just kind of understanding the harmonic minor at the foundational level, which is completely cool. But you know, if you want to see the bigger picture, like I said, minor 2/5 for me is all about pitch collections as opposed to the harmonized major scale, which is more about kind of easily fitting, you know, the major scale and getting all the harmony from there, which is great. But the minor 2/5 is slightly more complex for that reason.